Have you noticed how much of your life feels like it is not in your control? How other people, problems, or even your own feelings push you in directions you do not want to go? The truth is, many people give away their power without knowing it. They let fear, desire, or anger control how they act, what they say, and even the kind of person they become. The Stoics warned us that freedom is not given. It is taken, cultivated, and protected. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This video isn't about escaping life or pretending you can control everything. It's about taking the one thing no one can ever steal from you, your own mind. It's about learning the principles that allow you to stand firm, act with clarity, and navigate the chaos of life with composure and purpose. Over the next several minutes, we'll explore 8 Stoic principles that will help you take full control of your life, one step at a time. But before we dive in, do me one great favor. Hit the like button if this already resonates with you. Comment your affirmations as we go. Your words strengthen your mind. Share this video with someone who needs to reclaim their power and focus. Subscribe to the channel for more Stoic wisdom to strengthen your character and inner calm every week. And here's a simple affirmation to start. My silence is my power. Keep that in mind, because the first principle we'll explore shows how silence and self-control give you strength, not weakness. Today we begin with principle number 1. Principle 1. Master your mind before anything else. The most powerful lesson of Stoicism is deceptively simple. If you cannot control your thoughts, you cannot control your life. It sounds obvious, but think about it. How often do we react impulsively, angrily, fearfully, or selfishly, without pausing to examine the thoughts that drive us? Every decision we make, every action we take, is born from our mental state. And if that state is ruled by chaos, distraction, or fear, life feels chaotic too. The Stoics taught that your mind is your kingdom, and just like a kingdom, it must be defended. Seneca said, "We are not disturbed by things, but by the view we take of them." In other words, external events are neutral. It is our perception, our inner judgment, that gives them power over us. A rude comment, a lost opportunity, a betrayal, they don't harm you by themselves. They only harm you if you let your mind give them permission to. Imagine waking up each day without this inner control. A minor insult sends you spiraling. Traffic makes your blood boil. A difficult conversation feels unbearable. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine a mind so disciplined, so trained in clarity, that the same insults bounce off. Traffic becomes an inconvenience, and challenges are simply opportunities to practice virtue. That is the power of mastering your mind. So how do you begin? Pause before reacting. The first step is simple, yet most people ignore it. When an event triggers a reaction, anger, fear, frustration, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, is this true? Is this my responsibility? Does this deserve my energy? In that brief moment of pause, you reclaim control. You decide your response instead of being driven by emotion. Observe your thoughts like an outsider. The Stoics recommended mental detachment, not in the sense of coldness, but as clear observation. Treat your thoughts like clouds in the sky. You don't have to chase every one of them. You don't have to act on them blindly. By observing, you separate yourself from reactive thinking and step into deliberate action. Anchor yourself in reason, not emotion. Emotions are powerful, but they are not absolute truth. Anger tells you injustice exists, but it doesn't tell you how to respond wisely. Fear warns of danger, but it doesn't tell you what is worth risking. By grounding your decisions in reason, you act deliberately, not destructively. Practice daily reflection. Each evening, take time to reflect on your day. Ask yourself, where did I let my mind run wild? Where did I choose clarity? This simple habit trains your mental discipline. Over time, you begin to notice patterns. You start to see which thoughts serve you and which thoughts enslave you. Here's the Stoic paradox. The mind is both your prison and your key to freedom. Most people blame life for their suffering. They point at jobs, bosses, relationships, or health as reasons they are unhappy. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. It's rarely the events themselves that rob your peace. It's your interpretation of them. The moment you take command of your mind, you take command of your life. And here's another truth. Mastering your mind doesn't make you emotionless. It makes you unshakable. A storm may rage around you, but inside, you remain grounded. Others may panic, complain, or act out of fear, but you navigate life with calm, confidence, and clarity. That is the gift of Principle 1. Your mind becomes a fortress, and within that fortress, you are free. Now, think about this. How much of your life right now is dictated by unexamined thoughts? How many moments have you surrendered to anger, worry, or desire, only to regret them later? The Stoics would ask you to stop blaming the world and start training your mind. They didn't promise ease or comfort, but they promised something far more valuable: strength, clarity, and freedom. When you commit to mastering your mind, everything else in life becomes manageable. Relationships become clearer, challenges become opportunities, and your decisions become deliberate rather than reactive. Marcus Aurelius put it plainly, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Strength here isn't about physical might or wealth. It's about the unshakable ability to live according to your values, no matter the chaos outside. And that's why principle number 1 matters more than anything else. Before you take control of your life, take control of your mind. Train it, guard it, discipline it, because a free mind will lead you to a free life. Without it, all your plans, all your efforts, all your ambitions are at the mercy of chaos. With it, even the harshest storm becomes a test you can pass with composure. Begin today by observing your thoughts. Pause before reacting. Ground your actions in reason, not emotion, and reflect daily on how you wield your mind. Small, consistent practice will compound into unshakable mental strength. Master your mind first, and everything else in life starts to fall into place. Principle 2. Take full responsibility for your life. Most people spend their lives pointing fingers. They blame circumstances, bad luck, other people, or society for their failures, frustrations, and disappointments. If only my boss was different. If only I had more money. If only my parents had taught me better. Sound familiar? The Stoics saw this clearly and warned that this mindset is a trap. By blaming the world, you give away your power. You make yourself a victim instead of the master of your own life. Epictetus, a Stoic who was once a slave, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Think about that. No matter your circumstances, rich or poor, free or constrained, powerful or powerless, you always have control over your actions and choices. You can't control what life throws at you, but you can control how you respond. And that response defines your freedom, your happiness, and your growth. Taking responsibility isn't about guilt or beating yourself up. It's about ownership. It's about recognizing that your life is the result of your decisions, habits, and attitudes, not someone else's. Every missed opportunity, every mistake, every failure, own it. Don't hide behind excuses. Don't rationalize it with "the system made me do it" or "they made me angry." Look in the mirror and ask, what can I do differently? What is mine to fix? How can I act better right now? Here's why this principle is powerful. The moment you stop blaming and start owning, you stop feeling helpless. You stop waiting for the world to change. You stop hoping others will fix your problems, and you start acting. That shift from victimhood to ownership is the foundation of personal freedom. So how do you begin to truly take responsibility? Audit your life honestly. Look at your habits, choices, and patterns without excuses. Where have you let fear guide you? Where have you avoided responsibility? Where have you allowed procrastination, anger, or laziness to shape your results? This isn't self-criticism, it's clarity. You can't change what you refuse to see. Focus on what you can control. There's a saying in Stoicism, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. You cannot control other people, random events, or the outcome of every situation, but you can control your effort, your discipline, and your choices. When you focus there, you reclaim enormous power. Stop complaining, start acting. Complaints are easy, action is hard. Complaints reinforce victimhood, action reinforces agency. Each day, ask yourself, what is one thing I can do today to improve my situation, regardless of how unfair life seems? Even small actions consistently applied compound into life-changing results. Embrace your mistakes as lessons. Responsibility isn't about perfection. It's about owning your mistakes, learning from them, and moving forward wiser. The Stoics saw failure as an opportunity to refine character. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a person perfected without trials." When you take responsibility for your errors, they stop being burdens and become stepping stones. Here's the paradox. Most people think responsibility is a burden. They think being accountable means more stress, more pressure, more limits. But the truth is the opposite. Responsibility is freedom disguised as effort. When you own your life, you no longer need anyone's permission to act. You no longer wait for external validation. You no longer feel powerless in the face of obstacles. You become the author of your story, the captain of your ship, the master of your fate. Consider this. How often do you let circumstances dictate your happiness? How often do you feel trapped by your own choices, yet refuse to acknowledge your role in creating them? Stoicism teaches that true control comes not from controlling the outside world, but from fully owning your inner and outer life. When you start taking responsibility, life stops being a series of random events and starts being a series of deliberate choices. You stop being a spectator and start being a participant. You stop whining about what happened to you and start shaping what comes next. And here's the most important part. Taking responsibility strengthens every other area of your life. Your relationships improve because you stop blaming others and start communicating clearly. Your work improves because you stop waiting for instructions and start taking initiative. Your mental clarity improves because you stop giving away power to anger, fear, or regret. And in that ownership, a new kind of freedom emerges. The freedom to shape your life consciously, intentionally, and without excuse. Today, ask yourself, what part of my life am I blaming on others? What can I own instead? Identify one area where you've been making excuses and take full responsibility for it. Even a small action taken with ownership is a step toward mastery. Remember, life doesn't happen to you, it happens through you. Principle 3. Embrace discomfort as a path to growth. Most people spend their lives avoiding discomfort. They chase comfort, pleasure, and ease like it's the ultimate goal. A cold shower is skipped. A difficult conversation is postponed. A challenging task is delayed. Even small inconveniences are met with frustration. But the Stoics saw this clearly. Comfort is not the measure of a good life. Resilience is. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, challenges are not obstacles to avoid. They are opportunities to grow stronger, wiser, and more capable. Think about it. Every person you admire, leaders, thinkers, athletes, artists, has faced discomfort. Every trial, every struggle, every obstacle was a stepping stone, not a roadblock. And yet, most people shy away from the very experiences that would make them exceptional. The truth is, life is inherently uncomfortable. Waiting for perfect conditions or guaranteed ease is a trap. The Stoics teach that mastery comes from willingly facing what others flee. So what does embracing discomfort look like in practice? Seek challenges deliberately. Don't just endure the discomfort life throws at you. Actively seek it. A difficult project at work, a tough conversation with a friend, waking up before dawn to train, or fasting for a day. These are not punishments. They are exercises for the mind and body. Each act of voluntary discomfort strengthens resilience, sharpens focus, and builds character. Reframe obstacles as opportunities. Instead of thinking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "How can I use this situation to become better?" The Stoics called this mindset turning the obstacle upside down. Every setback is a chance to practice patience, courage, and wisdom. A canceled plan teaches flexibility. A failure teaches humility. A harsh critique teaches perspective. Detach from immediate pleasure. Most discomfort comes from craving short-term comfort and avoiding small pains. Stoicism teaches us to delay gratification, to endure short-term discomfort for long-term gain. Seneca said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a person perfected without trials." Choosing discipline over indulgence, effort over ease, and growth over instant comfort is how we build a life worth living. Face fear head on. Fear is one of the most common sources of discomfort. Fear of failure, rejection, or uncertainty can paralyze us. But the Stoics taught that fear loses its power when examined rationally and confronted directly. Epictetus wrote, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." By facing fear, we reclaim control over our actions. We stop being prisoners of imagined dangers and start becoming architects of our future. Here's the paradox: the more you embrace discomfort, the more freedom you gain. Avoidance gives the illusion of safety but breeds weakness, dependency, and anxiety. Facing challenges builds confidence, courage, and independence. The mind, body, and spirit thrive when tested, just as muscles grow stronger under resistance. Consider the daily life of someone who avoids discomfort. Small setbacks crush their morale. A critical comment triggers panic. A minor inconvenience ruins their day. Their entire sense of self is fragile because it is built on comfort. Now consider someone who embraces challenges. They see obstacles as lessons, criticism as insight, and difficulty as fuel. Their mind becomes resilient. Their confidence becomes unshakable. Their life is no longer controlled by circumstances. It is guided by intention. Stoicism teaches that true strength isn't avoiding discomfort. It's using it as a tool to master yourself. Life will inevitably challenge you. Wealth, health, relationships, and opportunities can vanish in an instant. But if your character is forged in discomfort, nothing outside can destroy your inner freedom. And here's the most important insight. Embracing discomfort is not about being reckless or seeking pain for its own sake. It's about intentionally practicing resilience so that when life's unavoidable hardships arrive, you meet them with composure and strength. You transform obstacles into opportunities, fear into courage, and resistance into growth. Today, identify one small discomfort you've been avoiding. Step into it deliberately. Whether it's a difficult conversation, a challenging task, or a disciplined routine, lean into it instead of running away. Every time you do, you build strength that will carry you through life's inevitable storms. Remember, life is not meant to be easy. It's meant to make you strong, wise, and free. Principle 4. Master your desires and control your impulses. Most of us live as if the world exists to satisfy our wants. A craving here, an impulse there, a fleeting desire followed by another. We chase pleasure, avoid discomfort, and allow every mood, craving, or whim to dictate our actions. But the Stoics saw this clearly. Unchecked desires enslave us. True freedom, they taught, comes from mastery over impulses, not indulgence in them. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Think about that. Freedom isn't wealth, status, or comfort. It's the ability to act in alignment with reason, virtue, and your higher purpose, rather than being pulled every which way by fleeting urges. Every time you give in to distraction, anger, indulgence, or lust, you are handing your power to something outside yourself. And that's how most people end up living half-lives, chasing things that leave them empty instead of building a life that makes them whole. Desires left unchecked are subtle tyrants. They disguise themselves as happiness, excitement, or comfort. But giving in to them rarely produces lasting satisfaction. Consider the endless cycle. You want something, you get it, you feel momentary pleasure, then it fades, and you crave something else. The Stoics saw this as a form of self-imposed slavery. They taught that moderation, discipline, and conscious choice are the antidotes. So how do you begin mastering desires and controlling impulses? Pause before acting. Most impulsive behaviors are driven by emotion, not reason. Anger, fear, hunger, desire, they push us to act before we think. The Stoics taught the power of a deliberate pause. When you feel the urge to react, ask, will this action serve my long-term well-being? Will it align with my values? That simple pause transforms reactive life into deliberate life. Distinguish between wants and needs. Desire often masquerades as necessity. A craving for luxury, attention, or indulgence feels urgent but is rarely essential. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Understanding this difference frees you from chasing illusions. You start living intentionally rather than compulsively. Practice voluntary discomfort. One of the most powerful tools the Stoics used to control desire was self-imposed restraint. Skip a meal, take a cold shower, fast from social media, or delay gratification. When you willingly face discomfort, you train your mind to resist unnecessary impulses. You realize that pleasure is temporary and self-mastery is lasting. Redirect desire toward purpose. Not all desires are bad. Some can be constructive if channeled correctly. Desire for growth, mastery, knowledge, or excellence is healthy. The Stoics taught us to focus our drives on virtue and meaningful action instead of fleeting pleasures. Redirecting energy this way transforms desire from a trap into a tool for building a life of substance. Here's the truth. Impulses are not evil. They are signals. They tell you where your mind is weak, where your attention is scattered, and where your character can be strengthened. Each time you resist an unnecessary urge, you reclaim control. Each time you redirect desire toward purpose, you build inner strength and self-confidence. Consider the modern world. Everywhere you look, there are distractions, temptations, and endless stimuli designed to hijack your attention. Social media notifications, marketing campaigns, fast food, entertainment, each is a test of discipline. Without conscious effort, you will be pulled in every direction, leaving your life scattered, shallow, and unsatisfying. But when you train your mind to resist, when you choose reason over impulse, your focus becomes a weapon. You are no longer a leaf drifting in the wind. You are a captain steering a ship. The paradox of mastery over desire is profound. The less you give in, the more freedom you gain. Freedom from distraction, freedom from regret, freedom from the endless chase for fleeting pleasure, freedom to build, create, grow, and act with clarity. Desire becomes a tool instead of a chain. Impulse becomes a servant instead of a master. And here's the most important point. Mastering desire isn't about denial for its own sake. It's about strengthening your mind and character so that nothing outside yourself can dictate your happiness, peace, or purpose. When a craving arises, you don't have to obey it. When a temptation appears, you can choose reason over reaction. And in that choice, you discover true power and freedom. Takeaway: today, notice one impulse or desire you often follow without thinking. Pause, question it. Ask if it aligns with your long-term growth and values. Then act deliberately or choose restraint. Every time you do, you strengthen your freedom, sharpen your focus, and reclaim control over your life. Remember, a life dominated by impulses is a life lived for others. A life dominated by reason and self-mastery is a life fully your own. Principle 5. Cultivate mental clarity and emotional resilience. Life is unpredictable. People will betray you. Plans will fall apart. Accidents happen. Words will wound. And yet, most of us let these external events control our inner state. One small inconvenience can ruin our day. One harsh word can shatter our mood. One setback can cloud our mind for weeks. The Stoics saw this clearly. Our suffering doesn't come from the world. It comes from our judgment of it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Think about that for a moment. You cannot control the weather, traffic, or the opinions of others. You cannot prevent life from testing you, but you can control how you interpret, respond, and adapt to these events. That is the essence of mental clarity and emotional resilience. The Stoics taught that a life well lived is a life where the mind remains calm, focused, and undisturbed by external chaos. So how do you cultivate this clarity and resilience? Observe your thoughts without attachment. Most emotional turmoil comes from taking our thoughts too seriously. Anger, anxiety, or sadness often grow because we identify with them. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When a negative thought arises, notice it, label it, separate yourself from it. This creates space between stimulus and reaction, and that space is where clarity lives. Accept what you cannot control. Many people waste mental energy resisting reality. A canceled flight, a rude comment, or a financial setback triggers frustration, panic, or despair. But the Stoics emphasize the importance of acceptance. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." The more you accept what you cannot change, the more energy you free for what you can influence. Your thoughts, choices, and actions. Prepare for life's challenges. Mental clarity doesn't come from avoidance. It comes from preparation. Marcus Aurelius practiced a daily reflection. He imagined worst-case scenarios to steel his mind against shock, disappointment, or fear. This exercise, called premeditatio malorum, trains the mind to respond rationally, calmly, and purposefully when challenges arise. When adversity comes, you're not overwhelmed. You're ready. Strengthen emotional resilience through action. Resilience is not passive. It is forged through deliberate action. Exercise your body, practice discipline, cultivate meaningful habits, and face challenges with intention. Emotional resilience grows when you repeatedly navigate life's difficulties without letting them destabilize your inner self. Each challenge endured strengthens your capacity to remain calm, focused, and effective. Detach from external approval. Emotional fragility often comes from dependence on others' opinions. praise, criticism, or neglect can sway mood and self-worth. The Stoics taught that inner peace comes from valuing virtue and wisdom above external recognition. Focus on your actions, intentions, and growth, not on applause or disapproval. When you detach from external approval, your mind becomes steady, unshakable, and clear. Here's the paradox. The more clarity you cultivate, the more freedom you gain. Life doesn't become easier, but your response to it becomes sharper, calmer, and more effective. You start seeing problems for what they truly are, not as disasters. You navigate obstacles with reason instead of panic, and you find peace even in chaos, because your inner state is not dictated by what happens outside, but by how you think and act. Consider the modern world. Distractions, criticism, and stress bombard us constantly. Social media notifications, negative news, and interpersonal conflicts pull us in every direction. Without mental clarity, we are tossed around like leaves in a storm. With clarity, we become the calm center, able to act decisively, respond thoughtfully, and maintain focus on what truly matters. Resilience also strengthens relationships. A calm, steady mind prevents reactive arguments, emotional overreactions, and unnecessary conflict. It allows you to listen deeply, respond wisely, and act from a place of strength, not impulse. Your peace becomes a force that shapes your world rather than being shaped by it. Takeaway. Today, practice observing your thoughts without attachment. Notice one moment of emotional agitation and ask, can I control this, or is it outside my power? Accept what cannot be changed, act where you can influence, and make space for calm reflection. Every time you do, you strengthen your mental clarity, fortify your emotional resilience, and gain freedom from the chaos that ensnares most people. Remember, a resilient mind is an unshakable mind, and that is the foundation of true power and freedom. Principle 6. Build strong relationships. Without losing yourself. Human beings are social creatures. Connection, companionship, and collaboration are essential parts of life. Yet so many people sacrifice themselves in the pursuit of relationships, romantic, professional, or even friendships. They bend, compromise, and lose their sense of identity, all to avoid conflict, rejection, or loneliness. The Stoics warned against this. They taught that true connection thrives when you maintain your inner strength, values, and freedom. Seneca once said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Not everyone deserves your time, energy, or attention. Choosing wisely isn't selfish, it's essential." Relationships that drain, manipulate, or distract you are chains disguised as bonds. They may look like companionship, support, or love, but underneath they can erode your peace, freedom, and purpose. Here's the truth. Your relationships should complement your life, not define it. When you stand strong in yourself, you attract people who add value, challenge you to grow, and respect your boundaries. Weak or needy individuals are drawn to dependence, but strength attracts respect. The Stoics understood that quality matters far more than quantity. So how do you build strong relationships without losing yourself? Prioritize boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They are the framework for healthy interaction. Know what you will tolerate, what you won't, and communicate it clearly. A Stoic mind does not surrender to pressure, guilt, or expectation. Instead, it protects its peace while still engaging meaningfully with others. Choose relationships that elevate you. Friendship and companionship are powerful tools for growth, but only when they are reciprocal. Marcus Aurelius advised that we should beware of the company you keep, for it shapes your character. Surround yourself with people who inspire virtue, honesty, and courage, not drama, laziness, or negativity. Maintain independence. True strength comes from knowing that you are whole without anyone else. You are not incomplete, needy, or defined by another person's presence. When you maintain independence, you can engage fully in relationships without fear, desperation, or compromise. You connect because you choose to, not because you need to. Communicate with clarity and honesty. Strong relationships rely on transparent communication. Speak your truth with kindness, integrity, and respect. Do not manipulate, deceive, or withhold in order to preserve peace temporarily. The Stoics taught that honesty is a form of virtue, and virtue builds trust that endures. Detach from toxic expectations. People will always disappoint. Friends, partners, colleagues, they will fall short. The Stoics reminded us not to let these disappointments disturb our inner calm. Expect less from others, but nothing from virtue. Expect people to act according to their nature, and when they fail, maintain your composure and adjust your boundaries. Here's the paradox: the stronger you become, the more meaningful your relationships become. Independence breeds attraction, clarity, and respect. When you no longer need validation or approval, you naturally repel those who drain energy and attract those who contribute to growth. You stop wasting time on conflict and start investing it in harmony, depth, and mutual enrichment. Consider modern life. So many people are caught in toxic dynamics because they fear being alone. They cling, they compromise, they allow themselves to be disrespected, all in the name of connection. But the Stoics taught that peace within must come first. When you build strength in solitude, boundaries become natural. You can love freely without losing yourself. You can collaborate without surrendering your principles. You can give without being exploited. True relationships are not about codependence. They are about two whole individuals walking together, elevating each other, and maintaining freedom of spirit. The Stoics understood that this balance is delicate but essential. Without self-mastery, emotional resilience, and independence, relationships become entanglements that limit your life, distract from your purpose, and drain your energy. Takeaway: today, evaluate one relationship in your life. Ask yourself, does this connection lift me up or weigh me down? Does it honor my values and freedom or compromise them? Protect your peace, uphold your boundaries, stand strong in your independence, and choose relationships that elevate both you and the people you walk with. Remember, strong relationships are not built from need. They are built from strength, clarity, and mutual respect. Principle 7. Face adversity with courage and turn challenges into growth. Life is not meant to be easy. The world will test you relentlessly. Plans will fail. People will betray you. Opportunities will slip through your fingers. And yet, most people spend their lives avoiding discomfort, running from challenges, or blaming others for their misfortune. The Stoics saw this clearly. Adversity is not a punishment. It is the raw material of strength. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, every obstacle you encounter is an opportunity to grow, learn, and refine your character. Challenges are not roadblocks. They are teachers disguised in difficulty. The moment you stop resisting them and start engaging with them, you turn weakness into strength and pain into power. So how do you face adversity with courage, without being broken or bitter? Reframe your perspective. Most suffering comes from how we interpret events, not the events themselves. A missed promotion, a harsh critique, or a personal loss feels devastating because we attach meaning to it. This is unfair. This ruins everything. The Stoics teach us to shift our perspective. This is a test. This is an opportunity to practice patience, resilience, and wisdom. When you reframe difficulty as a teacher, every setback becomes a chance to grow. Accept reality without resistance. Pain, loss, and difficulty are inevitable. Life will not conform to your desires. To resist reality is to multiply suffering. Instead, accept it fully. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." Acknowledging what you cannot control is not resignation. It is clarity, focus, and freedom. You stop wasting energy on what is unchangeable and start applying it where it counts: your actions, your mindset, and your growth. Act with courage, not fear. Facing adversity does not mean being reckless. It means confronting difficulty with rationality, courage, and deliberate action. When fear arises, name it, observe it, but do not let it dictate your choices. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the ability to move forward despite fear. Every time you act courageously, even in small ways, you train your mind to remain steady in the storm. Learn from every challenge. Stoicism teaches that wisdom grows through experience. Every obstacle, mistake, or hardship carries a lesson. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger, wiser, or more resilient? By extracting lessons from difficulty, you convert what could break you into what refines you. Growth often hides behind struggle, but only those willing to face it discover its treasure. Strengthen your inner fortitude daily. Courage is not built in the moment of crisis alone. It is forged in preparation. Daily practice, self-discipline, reflection, meditation, exercise, learning builds a mind and body capable of withstanding life's pressures. The Stoics compared this to training for battle. A warrior does not wait for war to get strong. They train, sharpen, and condition themselves every day. Here's the paradox. The more you embrace challenges, the less fear you have of them. Life no longer feels like a series of punishments. Instead, it becomes a gym for your mind, a forge for your character, and a proving ground for your values. You begin to welcome adversity because you understand its role in shaping the person you are meant to become. Consider modern life. Setbacks are inevitable. Career obstacles, personal betrayals, health issues, financial stress. Most people collapse under the weight of these challenges. The Stoics teach that your reaction is the difference between suffering and strength. You cannot always control what happens, but you can control what you do with it. You can rise, learn, and transform it into a catalyst for growth, or remain stuck in frustration, fear, and resentment. When you face adversity with courage, your presence in the world changes. You become calmer, more confident, and more decisive. Others notice your steadiness. Your reputation is not built on charm or luck, but on the quiet, unshakable strength of someone who has weathered storms and emerged wiser, stronger, and more capable. Takeaway. Today, identify one challenge in your life. Instead of resisting it, ask, what is this teaching me? How can I turn this into growth? Step into the discomfort with courage. Train your mind to see obstacles as opportunities, setbacks as lessons, and adversity as the forge that shapes strength. Remember, the world will always test you, but how you respond will define you. A Stoic mind does not fear difficulty. It uses it to grow, to conquer, and to live fully. Principle 8. Live with purpose and align every action with your values. All the wisdom, discipline, and strength you've built as a Stoic comes down to one ultimate principle: living a life guided by purpose and integrity. Strength, independence, resilience, and clarity mean little if they are not directed toward something meaningful. Without purpose, life becomes a series of distractions, obligations, and fleeting pleasures. But with purpose, every action, every choice, every moment is infused with power and direction. The Stoics believed that your life is not random. It has a path meant for you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A man's true delight is to do the things he was made for." Each of us has a unique combination of skills, passions, and values that shapes the life we are meant to live. Your mission may not be grandiose in the eyes of the world, but it is your own. When you align your actions with that mission, you live in harmony with yourself and with the world. So how do you live purposefully without losing focus or being distracted? Clarify your core values. Before you can act with purpose, you must know what matters most to you. Is it integrity, wisdom, compassion, mastery, freedom, or creativity? Define your guiding principles clearly. The Stoics taught that virtue is the highest good, and acting according to virtue gives life meaning and coherence. Every choice becomes easier when it is measured against your values. Set your own standards. Do not live to please others or chase society's definition of success. Your standards come from within. Align your goals, actions, and relationships with the life you truly want, not what others expect of you. Independence is not just freedom from control. It is freedom to create a life that reflects your deepest priorities. Turn every action into practice. Stoicism is not abstract philosophy. It is a lived experience. Every interaction, challenge, and decision is an opportunity to practice virtue and live your purpose. Respond to adversity with courage. Speak truthfully. Maintain discipline. Protect your energy. Build yourself daily. Each act, no matter how small, compounds into a life of strength, clarity, and fulfillment. Accept mortality to intensify your focus. Life is fleeting. Seneca reminded us that it is not that we have too little time, but that we waste much of it. When you acknowledge the inevitability of death, trivial distractions lose their power. Every day becomes a chance to act intentionally, to focus on what truly matters, and to invest in a life that leaves an impact, both for yourself and others. Live with integrity, not convenience. Purposeful living requires alignment between thought, word, and action. Do not compromise your principles for comfort, approval, or ease. The Stoics understood that integrity is not just moral, it is liberating. When your actions match your values, your mind is calm, your energy is focused, and your life is coherent. You act from strength, not fear, and your presence in the world is unmistakable. Here's the paradox. The more you live purposefully, the freer and happier you become. When your life aligns with your values, you no longer feel lost, anxious, or at the mercy of circumstance. Challenges become tests of character. Successes become moments of gratitude rather than ego. Relationships become authentic because you engage with people as a whole, grounded individual, not someone seeking fulfillment externally. Consider this: every Stoic practice we've discussed, self-mastery, protecting your energy, building independence, facing adversity, ultimately serves this principle. They are not ends in themselves. They are tools to cultivate the inner clarity, strength, and resilience that allow you to live deliberately and pursue your highest purpose. Without this alignment, freedom can become aimless. Strength can become arrogance, and resilience can turn into mere survival. Takeaway. Today, reflect on your mission. Ask yourself, am I living according to my highest values, or am I drifting to please others? Align your actions with what matters most. Protect your time, energy, and focus. Face challenges with courage. Build relationships that elevate. Stand strong in independence. And above all, live intentionally. Because a life lived without purpose is wasted. A life lived in alignment with your values is unstoppable. Conclusion: taking full control of your life with Stoicism. You now have the Stoic blueprint for mastering your life. Let's recap the 8 principles. Master yourself. First, build inner strength, discipline, and clarity before seeking fulfillment externally. Focus on what you can control. Stop wasting energy on things beyond your influence and concentrate on your thoughts, choices, and actions. Guard your mind and energy. Protect your attention. Avoid toxic influences and nurture your inner peace. Embrace discipline and habit. Develop routines and practices that make you resilient, capable, and consistent. Build emotional resilience. Face your fears, doubts, and challenges without being undone by them. Build strong relationships. Without losing yourself, engage with people who elevate and respect you while maintaining your independence. Face adversity with courage. Turn challenges into lessons, setbacks into strength, and pressure into growth. Live with purpose and align every action with your values. Let every choice, relationship, and effort serve your highest mission. Stoicism is not just philosophy, it is a roadmap to freedom. Freedom from fear, dependence, and distraction. Freedom to act with integrity, courage, and clarity. Freedom to live a life that is yours, fully, unshakably, and intentionally. Remember Marcus Aurelius's words, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And I would add, the power of your life depends upon the quality of your choices, your actions, and the strength you cultivate within yourself. Take these principles, practice them daily, stand strong in solitude and in society, face every challenge with courage, protect your peace, your mission, and your values. Live a life so fully your own that no circumstance, no person, and no fear can take it from you. The Stoics did not wait for the world to change. They mastered themselves first. And when you do the same, you take full control of your life. You become unstoppable, you become free, and you finally live the life you were always meant to live. Now, before you leave, take a moment to make it real. Like this video if it resonated with your journey. Share it with someone who needs to reclaim their strength and focus. Comment your affirmation below, declare it, and own it. Here's one to start. My silence is my last word and my most powerful one. Subscribe to the channel for more Stoic truths that will strengthen your mind, build your character, and guide you toward clarity every week. By taking action, you don't just learn Stoicism, you live it. Your silence, your choices, your discipline, they are your power. Use them wisely.